Alcatraz was used as a maximum security federal prison from 1934 to 1963. Located on a lonely island in the middle of San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz had held many captives. But it was in 1934, the high point of a major war on crime, that Alcatraz was turned into the world's most secure prison. In the 1930s, Alcatraz was already a forbidden place, surrounded by cold, rough waters. The redesign included tougher iron bars, a series of guard towers, and strict rules, which included dozens of checks on the prisoners a day. Escape seemed near impossible. Despite the odds, 36 men tried 14 separate escapes. Nearly all were caught or didn't survive the attempt. However, 3 particular inmates' fate still remains a mystery to this day. Here is their story. Frank Morris arrived at Alcatraz in January 1960 after convictions for bank robbery, burglary, and other crimes, and repeated attempts to escape various prisons. Later that year, a convict named John Anglin was sent to Alcatraz, followed by his brother Clarence in early 1961. All 3 knew each other from previous time spent in prison. Assigned to connecting cells, they began hatching a plan to escape. Morris, known for his intelligence, took the lead in the planning. They were aided by another inmate, Alan West. Alan West did not escape from Alcatraz on June 11, 1962, because he was unable to remove his ventilation gate in time to join the others. West had been an active participant in the planning and execution of the escape, even building rafts and life jackets. However, the cement he'd used to reinforce the vent had hardened, making it difficult to remove when he was able to do so. The others had already left his cell block. On June 12, 1962, the routine early morning bed check turned out to be anything but. 3 convicts were not in their cells. John Anglin, his brother, Clarence, and Frank Morris, in their beds, were cleverly built dummy heads made of plaster, flesh-tone paint, and real human hair that apparently fooled the night guards. The prison went into lockdown, and the intense search began. The FBI was notified immediately and asked to help. The FBI office in San Francisco set leads for offices nationwide to check for any records on the missing prisoners and on their previous prison escape attempts, which all 3 had made them. Interviews were conducted with relatives of the men, and the FBI also complied all their identification records. Boat operators in the bay were asked to be on the lookout for debris. Within 2 days, a packet of letters sealed in rubber and related to the men was recovered. Later, some paddle-like pieces of wood and bits of rubber in a tube were found in the water. A homemade life vest was also discovered washed up on Chronic Height Beach, but extensive searches did not turn up any other items in the area. As the days went by, the FBI, Coast Guard, Bureau of Prison Authorities, and others began to find more evidence and piece together the ingenious escape plan. Alan West also guided the FBI by providing information. According to the FBI, the group had begun laying plans the previous December when one of them came across some old saw blades. Using tools including a homemade drill made from the motor of a broken vacuum, the inmates each loosened their air vents at the back of their cells by drilling closely spaced holes around the cover so the entire section of the wall could be removed. Once through, they hid the holes with whatever they could. A suitcase or a piece of cardboard. Behind the cells was a common unguarded utility corridor. They made their way down this corridor and climbed to the roof of their cell block inside the building, where they set up a secret workshop, taking turns keeping watch for the guards in the evening before the last count. They used a variety of stolen and donated materials to build and hide what they needed to escape. More than 50 raincoats that they had stolen or gathered were turned into a makeshift life preserves and a 6x14-foot rubber raft. The seams carefully stitched together and hardened by the hot steam pipes in the prison. They also built wooden paddles and covered a musical instrument into a tool to inflate the raft. At the same time, they were looking for a way out the building. The ceiling was a good 30 feet high, but using a network of pipes, they climbed up eventually, pried open the ventilator at the top of the shaft. They kept it in place temporarily by crafting a fake bolt out of soap. On the evening of June 11th, they were ready to go. West was left behind. The three others got into the corridor, gathered their gear, climbed up and out through the ventilator, and got onto the prison roof. Then they shimmied down the bakery smokestack at the rear of the cell house, climbed over the fence and snuck to the northeast shore of the island and launched their raft. What happened next remains a mystery. Did they make it across the bay, get to Angel Island, and then cross Raccoon Strait into Marin County as planned? Or did the wind and waves get the better of them? And investigators believe they couldn't have made it. There was also no reports of theft happening that night, despite the prison informant Alan West on their plan to steal clothes and a car when they reached shore did not happen, according to reports. Also, there was no real ties to family helping the three escapees, which ruled out any possibility someone was waiting for them. For 17 years, the FBI found no credible evidence to suggest the men were still alive in the U.S. or overseas. The FBI officially closed the case in 1979. However, some believe they are still alive today. Reports suggest that John and Clarence sent flowers to their family, including their mother, after their escape. These flowers were sent to their mother every Mother's Day until her death in 1973. Sometimes these flowers were delivered without cards, and in some cases, cards were included with the two brothers' signatures. There was also reports of two very tall individuals that looked to have heavy makeup on that attended the mother's funeral, which people led to believe it was the Anglin brothers. Let me know what you think in the comments.